Shalom and good day all, and this is Tehillim29 doing a review for the Super Sons Fortress of Attitude. And as you can see in front of you, there are 4 particular covers for this Superman, Son of Kal-El. And I think just for this particular reviewing, I'm just going to call it Son of Kal-El because I don't like it being called Superman. And I'm not very fond of the title, as I first mentioned it on the channel. Really, it should mirror the Robin, Son of Superman. So therefore it should be Superman, Son of Kal-El, or Superboy, Son of Kal-El. But seeing that this is about John Samuel Kent, let's give a quick rating on the covers. Now, starting off with down the bottom, for cover 1, 6.5 out of 10. Love the variant on the right hand side, which is the second, a 7.5 out of 10. For the next one, on the left hand side, the next variant, a 7 out of 10. And last but not least, a 7 out of 10 for the last. So, it's time to move into the art in relation to this story. And I must admit, this is an interesting story. I wouldn't call it the best beginnings, but it's time to get in there. Now, this is some of the art around the beginning of the story. It's actually quite nice. And of course, we've got another reimagining on the birth of John Samuel Kent. How many of these things do we really need? Because about the only one of these that I really like would have to be the one in Convergence. Because I feel that would actually fit John's character more than this next reimagining. Of course, I've read the one for Superman Reborn, connected to, or on the road to rebirth, and that's alright too. But I do prefer the Convergence one because in it you get the characters of Thomas Wayne, because if you remember in with Thomas Wayne's character, he's also a doctor, so it works really well with his character. And of course we move into something connected to the present. I'll now move to some art in the middle. Alright, and this is the art around the middle. After John Samuel Kent manages to cool down the situation. And seeing sort of like the key thing that caused such a fire in the area. And time to move towards the end. And finally towards the end, to which we get to see our favourite Super Sons sort of finally together, but I prefer John de-aged than what we've got in this. One thing I would sort of complain about, just in regards to the art, and that is the appearance of Damian Wayne here. He doesn't sort of suit with what's happening in the present Robin run. Yes, they've got the costume sort of right, but his facial appearance looks a little bit off. Just saying. But overall, for the art, I gave it a 7 out of 10. Alright, jumping right into the story review. And looking at the key things that I also enjoy in my storytelling. Did this thing in any way, shape or form have any comic references? Well, with this story having Damian Wayne make an appearance, it almost feels like it takes place in issues 5 or the end of issue 5 of the Robin run. And it probably wouldn't hurt to sort of like include that, as I felt it was sort of missing, and it would also be a good reference point to also show where these characters have caught up, or when these characters last caught up, even if you showed it in the, I think it was the Action comics, sort of one of the Superman comics, to which they did last catch up in the story with both of their appearances. Moving into time, we of course had the then and the now, and that sort of like helped to address when things were happening in the past to when things, or certain things happening in the present. In regards to locations, we had above Earth, which a supposed invasion was happening. Why don't you just say an invasion from a suspected species that wants to attack Earth? Be fucking blunt about it. Quit playing word games. Of course, after that, to which that was connected to the reimagining of the birth of Superboy, we ended up moving into the future, into the present, to which we got to see John Samuel Kent help a situation out in California. We moved to the next location, which is the island of Corto Maltese. Now, this is where my key criticism is, and yes, it does actually affect the story, because with that, just as I brought up in reference to the reference, it would be good because Damien is presently on the island of Corto Maltese in the latest issue. Moving into the cast of characters, we of course had Superman, the Justice League members, Kalex, Lois, and of course John Samuel Kent, and we can't forget Damian Wayne. It was, I must admit, it's a alright issue, but I don't feel Tom Taylor is taking enough risks already. There definitely needs to be some more editing here, to maybe point out just some little things that will help out, especially when it comes to comic references, and to help get the reader a little bit more interested to understand where this series is sort of like jumping off from to jumping into. Moving into the review, or the rating for the story, I gave it a 6.5 out of 10. It's not very high. I'll have to see how the second issue goes. Until then, actually before I go, I'm also expecting some more copies of the issue 1 from overseas. Slightly different alternate version cover. One made to look like a regular trade dress, even though it's a variant, plus a version, and it's the one where it's got Superman with a young John Samuel Kent Superboy in the picture, and you'll probably see that next time I cover Superman issue 2, or Superman Son of Kal-El issue 2. Well, we'll see you again at Super Sun's Fortress of Attitude.